Live NFL trivia every Tuesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge and have a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. Referees make mistakes all the time. We've seen countless of bad calls over the years, and we're going to continue to see countless of bad calls as time goes on. But whenever a referee makes a bad call, after the game, that seems to be the end of it. You don't hear the referee necessarily explaining the call to the press. You don't hear the NFL putting out a statement criticizing the referee or fining the referee. And you rarely, if ever, actually see the NFL publicly punish the referee for erring. But imagine this. Imagine that you, as a referee, make a call that is so bad that winds up deciding a game that you wind up quitting. You make a call so bad that your last NFL game lives in infamy to this day, and that you walk away from the game somewhat disgraced. Instead of accepting a punishment from the league, you just decide that you can't do this anymore, and you're going to quit the sport entirely. Well, following a 1988 game between the Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants, that's exactly what happened. And this is the story behind that play. Before I talk about the play, we need a little bit of context. First, we need an understanding of how exactly instant replay worked back then, because it was completely different than the system in place today. The first iteration of instant replay was nothing short of a disaster. I made a few videos about this topic, one of which you can check out by clicking the card in the upper right corner. But in short, there was no system of challenges. If a team didn't like the call, instead of challenging, the review had to be initiated by the replay official upstairs. This led to quite a few problems, particularly with plays that should have been reviewed and overturned, but were not because the replay official did not want to initiate a review. This is going to be incredibly important in just a little bit with our story. And with that, we head to Texas Stadium. It's September 18th, 1988, and the Dallas Cowboys are taking on the New York Giants in this NFC East rivalry. Anytime back then you had Pat Summerall and John Madden on the call, you knew this game was of the utmost importance. For both the Giants and Cowboys, they're sitting at 1-1 through 2 weeks. Cowboys are coming off of a close Monday Night Football victory against the Phoenix Cardinals. I made a video about a dumb decision made during that game, which you can check out by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Even though this is only a Week 3 game, keep in mind that the 3 years before, from 1985 to 87, of the 15 teams to make the postseason in the NFC, all 15 of them were above 500 after 3 weeks. So to win here in this ultra-competitive conference is crucial. Now, normally I talk about the plays and the key moments of the game leading up to the controversial play that you're about to see. But as it turns out, I don't have to do that here, because the controversy happened on the very first play of the game. The moment the ball was kicked, we had the play that would be the talking point for the days to come. Because not even 1 second into the game, despite kicking off, the Giants were ahead. Here's how it happened. Raul Allegre kicked it off to the third-year man Darryl Clapp. Clapp was one of the better kick returners in football the year before, finishing inside the top 10 in 1987 in yards per return. However, on this play, he just lost the ball in the sun, muffing it. Clapp never had possession of the ball. This is not a fumble, but rather just a muff. After Clapp recovered in the end zone, he tried running it out, where he was met by a swarm of Giants defenders, including Mark Collins. This is a pretty bizarre play. Clapp muffed the ball in the field of play and then recovered in the end zone. Where do you mark the ball? Well, this should be a touchback. There's precedent for this, which oddly enough involves another Giants game from the 1980s. If you want the full explanation of why this is the case, then click the card in the upper right corner, where we speak to former NFL Vice President of Officiating Dean Blandino about this. However, it has to do with the impetus. A muff doesn't change the impetus and doesn't add any new forces onto the play. It's somewhat confusing, which is why I recommend that previous video, but in short, if something like this happens, the referee should rule it as a touchback. Except here, it was ruled as safety. Fortunately, mistakes like this can be corrected pretty easily with instant replay. Instead of the Giants getting 2 points to start the game off, the Cowboys get the ball at the 20-yard line. No harm, no foul. There's just one small problem. Replay official Armen Terzian just didn't review it. He forgot to take a look at the play, even though that is literally his job. Before I go any further, if that name might sound familiar to you, and you're wondering why a referee from that era rings a bell, that's because Terzian was the referee who was infamously involved in another Cowboys game 13 years prior. He was the referee during the Cowboys-Vikings divisional game with the Hail Mary that got pelted with the bottle afterwards, and got severely injured in the process. Viking fans were upset about the lack of a push-off on the Hail Mary, and one fan pelted Terzian on Minnesota's final drive of the game. As for this play right here, The game continued with the Giants ahead 2-0. If the game turned out to be a blowout, or the Cowboys overcame this error and won, then while this mistake would be bad, I'm not sure how many people would be talking about it. However, it would have to be the absolute worst case scenario for everyone involved. The Giants won this game by exactly 2 points. They won it 12-10. This safety, which was incorrectly called, was the difference maker. This was the score that decided the game, because of course it was. How bad was the call? Well, it led Terzian to quitting the sport entirely. After the game, all the talk was about the first play of the game and the controversy surrounding it. Clack said that he lost the ball in the sun, and he thought it was a live ball, with everything happening too quick. Even Giants head coach Bill Parcells was confused with what happened, saying that he thought it was a good play. Cowboys head coach Tom Landry expressed regret that he didn't argue more with the officials, and was upset at himself for not requesting a replay. The insane part is that Mark Collins, the man who made the safety, knew right away that the referee screwed up, and he tried to bait the refs into making the wrong call. He said, "I knew that if he just downed it, it was a touchback, but he didn't know that. I said if I tackle him, I'll try to make the officials make a ruling. I didn't think it was going to go my way." Sometimes, officials make mistakes too. What's crazy is that during the second half, while the game was taking place, Terzian released a statement saying that he erred on the play, saying, "I was remiss in not reviewing the play at the time, but I felt there was an interpretation on the field which I was unaware of and would have allowed the safety." Yeah, the league was not pleased about this at all. In their marquee game in front of a large audience between two of the most popular teams in the sport, the first play of the game was a game-changing error, all because the replay official forgot to do his job because he thought he could read the lips of the officials from down on the field. In something that doesn't happen too often, Pete Rozelle decided to suspend Terzian for the error, suspending him for 2 games. How did he take the suspension? Well, he didn't. He quit. After more than 2 decades as an official, he hung it up and basically did the old "you can't fire me, I quit" routine. As Terzian said, "I felt when I took the heat off everybody by saying it was my mistake, I sure didn't want to be treated like a little kid and be suspended." Terzian thought that by admitting fault on the play that was mainly his fault, that he would just be absolved. When he wasn't, he was upset at the league for punishing him, and just decided to quit. Just a bizarre sequence of events all the way around. Now fortunately, this game had no implication on the postseason whatsoever, as neither the Giants nor the Cowboys made it that year, or would have made it had the results been flipped. But this game had a huge implication on instant replay and the career of an over 20-year official. So let this be a lesson to all those in charge of instant replay. If something questionable happens, and you have the opportunity to use instant replay, then use it. Because if you don't, well, you could wind up like Armen Terzian. Be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JRGator9 and subscribe to 60-Second NFL History on YouTube. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. So you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.